Should I go like that? Over here? Or presenting? Nomás el bollo, el hoodie y
Oh, okay.
si quieres. A ver. Lourdes. Your name so we can get the roster going and stuff. But I'm the secretary now, so now you can see a Spanish.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were sitting on this side.
No, I was waiting for Maritza, so you have to sit. I told them, no, I want Maritza sitting next to you.
Huh? Was your last? Was your last name? So ya no me.
I might have to leave early because I have ¿Sabes si va a venir Maritza?
No sé, la verdad es que no. When you're taking a car,
Oh, este año.
Oh, yeah.
Yo diría que está muy bien.
We just need it for the roster one time if you can.
oh, they have.
Wait, your roster already?
Yeah.
It's because I'm the new secretary.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
I can
Sorry.
send it to you.
can
I
send
don't
it to
like
me? No, yeah, I understand. I can you already sent it. Hi. Oh, you
Hello.
Yes.
You can tell already? 23 pounds. So ya postpongan. Yay, tenemos camera guy. Sure. Para que se vea la presentación whenever they present.
Oh, bueno, entonces yo lo agarro.
Y de aquí para allá.
Pero cuando presente. Bueno, sí, cierto. Okay. Toda sucia la pantalla. ¿Cómo te fue en tus vacaciones? Bien, bien. Oh. 3. Oh my God. How is he?
Ya, el ID le puede dar. No, pues ya lo mandamos.
So we start the meeting in order at 5:33. Someone take the roll.
Usually it would be you have to get
That's fine. No, from the person. So, anyway, I'll text you. Ms. Palestino? Present. Mr. Alonso?
Sorry.
Mr. Perez? Ms. Varillo?
Present.
Charqueño?
Here.
Here. Morrison?
Here.
Ortiz?
Here.
Ms. Wilton?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Here.
Mr. Jacardo Lopez?
He's on.
Keep returning.
And Mr. Farias.
And Mr. Farias?
Absent are Wells and Ripa.
So, I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Absent are Wells and Ripa. Unicorn. Oh. Bettis is absent. Okay. Bettis?
Okay.
Okay, so we're ready. We move to agenda minutes.
Item 2A, call for approval.
I call for 2A, approval of the published agenda.
Motion.
I'll second.
So moved by Palestino and second by Mr. Lopez. Is there any discussion? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes.
Approval of amendments.
Approval of the agenda for all the minutes, November minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Who's second? William?
I'll second.
Ask for discussion.
Is there any discussion? November? Anybody opposed?
Call for approval.
Call for approval?
Aye.
Anybody opposes? Motion passes. Item 3. Public comment on matters not on the agenda. Number 4, docket item. 4A. The info results of the special election.
No.
info update of the trees stewardship program for the city of San Diego.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
I just have copies of the present.
You guys are
Can you use the keyboard to advance the, it's on my left. It's on that corner,
Keyboard's
yeah.
over here, okay.
Hi, my name is Olivia. I am the Community Engagement Specialist with the Urban Forestry Program, specifically here to talk to you about our Trees for Communities project. We were here sometime last year to talk about the project, so we just wanted to come back with some progress updates. So for those of you who don't know, this was a 2022 settlement with the Air Pollution Control District to plant new trees, San Ysidro being one of our priority areas. So where we are now with this planting, we've already planted 119 trees. We recently partnered with Casa Familiar, who went out and canvassed homes with backside planting strips. So those are planting strips that are in the front lawn. So we were asking people to opt in for a street tree. So we had a really good success rate. We had 47.6% people say yes. A 27.2 said no, and then the other 25% were maybes or not home. And that was out of 485 homes that we canvassed. So with the presentations, I did attach door hangers that Casa Familiar was leaving. So if you weren't home and you got one of these, or if you know somebody who got one of these and never responded, there's still time to opt in for a tree. You would just scan the QR code or go to the website and let us know. Oh, you know what? And then for residents, we are having a free tree stewardship workshop on Saturday, March 1st at San Ysidro Civic Center. This is going to be a really good opportunity for residents to come and learn about trees, the benefits of trees, and how to care for these trees. I also have flyers that I'll put in the back for anybody who's interested. Another really exciting thing that we just launched is an interactive project map. So this one includes trees just in our Trees for Communities area, San Ysidro being one. So if a resident is out and sees a tree and they want to know what species it is, or if they want more information on it, they can go to this map, type in the address, and it'll come up with the tree species and the value of the tree. And then you can also learn more facts just by clicking on the links within that. So you can get to that by sandiego.gov/trees for communities, and then you would select interactive project map, or there's the QR code if anybody is interested. And of course, if anybody has any feedback, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. This is newly launched and we do want to hear from you guys. And then just a quick update, Ready, Set, Grow San Diego has launched. Our team is currently doing markouts in the Otay Mesa area. So that's a $10 million grant. So if you hear anything of that, that's what's happening. I believe they've already identified 700 vacant spots there. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'd like to know how long this program you foresee to stay going like it is. I think it's very important, but I also think that people should have time to think about what the options are, the type of trees, you know, that. And also, my question also is, if this, trees are planted in, supposed to be, like in front of a residence and, so provided there's enough, land between the sidewalk and the residence, fence or whatever. And I think that, people will be thinking, like I myself, I'm thinking about putting some trees in front of my house, but, those trees that are outside my fence, they're the city's responsibility to keep them pruned and water as well, the cities, right?
Yeah, as long as it's in the city's right of way.
Okay, and anything beyond or inside the property is the owners or the residents.
Exactly. So the right of way, I believe, so it's a little bit different down in San Ysidro, where it extends up to 10 feet from the curb. So there is a limited spot of the front yard that is city property. So that would be what the city is responsible for with the tree maintenance.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your answer.
I want to know if the trees that are planting in the Cyclovia project are pure or from the Cyclovia project?
If the trees that we're planting are.
The sandbag part.
Oh, I think John can maybe speak a little bit more to those trees.
Yeah, so the the trees that got planted as part of the Byway and along Fire Ave, were actually done separately. They were part of a Sandag general bike program. They do only have 1 year of watering built into that project. So the Trees for Communities project is going to water for years 2 and 3 to make sure they get past the establishment period. Luckily, we were here to do that. I'm just hopeful we'll be able to ensure the survivability of those trees, and then they'll be added to the city's inventory and maintained as part of the transportation's street trees.
And the ones who are dying, are you gonna replace it or just leave it the space?
For the trees that we're planting under this project. They have a 1 year warranty on it. So when our contractor is coming out to water the trees, they're also notifying us if these trees are dead or diseased, and they will replace those.
Yeah, because I drive so much by through Vista Lane and I saw some they are dying already.
On the Vista.
And the whole start with no tree, somebody took it or steal it or I don't know.
Oh, okay. You said it's Vista Lane?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
the ones that they're not in front of people's houses. It's the one that the mayor did to have
Yes,
the
along
1,000th tree, I think.
Oh, the
So on the
1,000
linear,
tree.
yeah.
Okay.
So that group of trees, there's several that are in bad shape.
Okay, yeah. We'll take note of that and go check them out.
When's the sunset date for this program again?
The last date, so the last day that we want to get trees in the ground is the very last day of this year. So that way we have 3 years to water the trees. And then is it 20?
Yes, December 2029 or 2028 is the last year. It's the end of the project. It's a 5-year settlement. So the project has very clear start and end dates, which kind of we work backwards from. So last tree has to be planted within that.
And what happens to any unplanted trees?
So we're purchasing trees as we mark out and find available spots. We don't have a cache of trees that we're trying to use. Our contractors are sourcing from their places up in LA or local nurseries like Devil Mountain that they can bring the trees for us.
And the money that, in the event that the money used for this program is not used, let's say like, a quarter of the trees that you were aiming for weren't planted, is that money use it or lose it? Or
This is a settlement program, so the city would be in breach of a legal settlement and we would be in trouble with the judge of the Air Pollution Control District. So
if you didn't plant?
we didn't plant it, we are forced to do this.
Okay, got you, 100%.
So you're saying it's the city's responsibility to water them for 3 years or 5 years?
Yeah, so any trees under this project will be watered for the first 3 years. And that's just to help them grow through the establishment period. And then beyond that, residents, if they see an issue with the tree or they're concerned about the tree, they can report it via Get It Done. And we would send an arborist out to go evaluate the tree and take next steps.
So there's different companies or programs or I don't know what you call them more, putting trees everywhere, and they're gonna expire in like 2 or 3 years. I don't know. Each one has different. What's gonna happen when we have dead trees all over? I'm concerned because I've seen some and nobody comes and cleans it, and it takes years for someone to come out here. It's nice because you guys want to put trees, but it's just so many programs putting trees, and at the end, I just see all kinds of dead trees all over, like sad trees. And who's gonna be responsible after that?
It just depends on the jurisdiction of the tree. So down here, I know that there's trees maintained by multiple agencies. So for example, we got feedback on some trees, Camino de la Plaza at the border, there's dead palms. Unfortunately, those trees are managed by Caltrans. So there's not much we can do there. And then there's also trees that are maintained by MTS, but the best thing to do is to always submit a Get It Done request, and then our team will evaluate, see who the tree belongs to, and then refer it on. Yeah.
So my question is for the gentleman that if you don't put all the trees in that, so you're forcing to put trees everywhere?
So the agreement is to spend a certain amount of money planting trees in priority areas. There's not a limit on the number of trees. We obviously have goals of how many trees we want. Our total project goal is 3,200 trees. We're about 1,200 into that goal. We started up in Barrio Logan area, planted around 1,000 trees up there. We're now working in this area and also up in the Southcrest area. So between those 3 areas, we're working to plant 3,200 trees and then water them, provide maintenance, mulching, other services beyond what we would normally do as far as just dropping a tree in and kind of forgetting it. These are very holistic programs. They've got long timelines, or relatively long timelines, 5 years. So we will be following up with maintenance, like we have the stewardship programs. Those are something we're able to put on because of this program. Though it is a settlement to do tree planting, it's very involved as far as community engagement. We're hosting, a couple months ago, we did a community forum down at Casa Familiar's Rec Center. We'll be doing a lot of outreach to kind of get people involved with this, as well as follow-up maintenance. We have a dedicated tree trimmer to the Ready, Set, Grow program, which is the tree planting program across the 905. And he will be able to help out as far as minor maintenance and pruning on the trees we planted, but we'll also be using some of the people who've gone through the tree stewardship training to help out with remulching or potentially small tree pruning, but more likely reporting things and making sure these trees aren't forgotten.
Okay, yeah, that was my question. I thought it was just here on the South Bay, but it's the whole county, right?
So our agreement is the 3 areas I mentioned,
Right.
Barrio Logan, I used to know these all by heart. Logan Heights, Sherman Heights, Grant Hill, Stockton, and Barrio Logan were priority area 1. San Ysidro is priority area 2. Priority area 3 is Sherman Heights, or is Shelltown, Mount Hope, Mountain View,
Crest.
and Hillcrest.
Southcrest.
And if we finish all of those areas, like if we completely exhausted all opportunities, then there's a subset of areas that were identified under the California Enviro Screen, which is a map that the state put out that identified areas that were disproportionately affected by pollution. And if we finish in the first 3 priority areas, we can go to areas that were identified as 70% or higher on that. Mostly it's areas like Emerald Hills and other areas next to Encanto and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So this is Trees for Community, right?
Yes.
That's the program.
Mhm.
The other program you mentioned is Ready, Set, Grow. Is that a different source of funds?
Yeah, so that's U.S. Forest Service federal grant. It was
Oh, that's like a weird thing right now, so.
Yes, so not to get too political, currently we are running under the assumption we will
Receive funds.
receive those funding. Yes, right now, we have a grant agreement with the Forest Service to provide a 5-year program, $10 million. We're proceeding as that is the case.
And I'm just looking into, because this is not just the trees, it's also sidewalk repairs.
Yes,
So how do we identify a sidewalk? Is that based on reports already made, or is some survey gonna happen?
so we're pulling, so that's the Ready Set Grow program.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's not in San Ysidro, but it is right up in Otay and Nestor areas.
Well, the little map shows Tennessee, or is that because it's?
And the
Oh, you
little
know
map
what, that's a
shows-
combined
It's a
map.
combined map, that one shows them both. Yeah.
Okay. Take it out of this.
Womp
Yeah.
I just thought of asking you something that I'm gonna talk about Howard Lane Park, right here at the end of Derrymount Road. I noticed that there's been more trees planted in the, I would call it, I wanna ask you, what kind of criteria do you use to just, I mean, you know, right now, the playing area for the Howard Lane Park
Mhm.
it's not very big, so, I mean, the most of the grass area is used, you know, youngsters are, you know, on their soccer games, whatever, and I don't know why, all of a sudden there's all these trees popping out and reducing the playing area,
Mhm.
and so it raises my question. You know, well, is it eventually that the whole playing area is gonna disappear, or is somebody gonna try to put trees on the outside of the playing areas? Because there's a large area of, you know, there's, I guess, dedicated for trees,
Mhm.
but none are being, you know, planted there.
Mhm.
Or the ones that are being planted right now, there's probably like a dozen trees. And it's reduced the playing area. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go out there and play, but
Yeah.
the families that have children in these clubs, you know, they're gonna have eventually, the trees are gonna get bigger, and then they're not gonna be able to be playing out there.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I would appreciate if they put more trees on the outside,
Mhm.
rather than moving them, you know, into the playing areas.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that, I don't know, maybe that's, we might have a voice on that, or
Sure.
we just let it go as it is.
Well, so our department doesn't have jurisdiction over what Parks does. We do work in collaboration with them when we want to plant trees. But I can grab your email address and follow up with you on that. And
Please.
yeah, so I'll grab your email after this and I will follow up and get you connected with the right people.
Yeah, don't worry about my grandson, you know, playing out there, that eventually,
I
you
hear you.
know, just, you know, stay in the swings, and that's it.
Mhm.
Because there won't be much playing area. So thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
See what you can do with that.
Definitely. In fact, if you just want to write down your name and email address and phone number
Yes.
if you'd like. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, are these deciduous evergreens, I mean, are they a combination of both, that are create new trash, new things to pick up, or are they evergreens where they're hardly drop their leaves?
I'm going to let John speak to that.
Yeah, so we have a list of species under the program that we're planting trees. Some of them are deciduous, some of them are evergreen. I don't think we're planting any conifers or pine trees, but different trees have different things. With the opt-in we were talking about, the canvassing from Casa Familiar, we were giving people the opportunity to choose what species they liked. And anyone under this program can go on the web form and say, I want this tree in front of my house, or I want this tree in this area. We'll take that into account. We're trying to not force trees on anybody who doesn't want one, or to use trees that people would want to get. So
Yeah.
a lot of people like jacarandas, a lot of people don't like jacarandas, so we'll try and find who's who, and then we'll plant whatever people are asking for that fits within our species list. But we have a mix of evergreens and deciduous.
Just to add to, if you do have species like in your area that you want to see, I do ask people for their top 3 preferences, just because it depends on nursery stock. So yeah, just top 3 preferences is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So my comment is, what, you guys can't save that towards the end of the year, maybe when Fire Park starts their development right there, you guys can put all the trees there, or different plants that are gonna be added to the Fire Park, and maybe help out with everything, the money and everything, and just how about?
It's possible. I mean, I would have to circle back on that. I'm not really familiar with the plans at Fire Park, but we can certainly look into that and see if there's any opportunity for trees.
On their maintenance, after the 5 years cycle, you know, the first year is the contractor, the next 3 years is the CD or 4. What happens after that, you know, over the years, maintenance, pruning, you know, that is included on it?
Yeah, so we do have a pruning schedule, but like I said earlier, if anybody has any concerns about the tree or its health, just please submit a get it done request, and the city will follow up with that. And we believe right now our response time is approximately 15 days.
For evaluation.
For evaluations, yes.
One more question. Yeah. So does this, since she said about the fire park, does this include or like any schools or areas around, or is just homes that you guys are focusing on?
So we could plant around schools as long as it's within the city's right of way. The settlement says that we can only plant on city-owned land. So if you have any areas that you think would be good, feel free to contact me and we can explore those options.
Thank you. Is your contact info anywhere on the
if you scan the QR code, the contact form on there goes directly to me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move on our docket items. Thank you. Have council, Ms. Vivian Ryan, your presentation.
Yeah, hi, how are you? Do you want me to stand over there? Is that better?
Wherever you want.
Okay. I did.
Hi.
I did. Thank you. Are you putting up the presentation? How is everybody? Buenos tardes. Hello. It's nice to see everybody. Hey, long time no see. Good, good, good. Oh, I can go ahead. This way, right? Which way do I click? So it's like that. If you don't mind clicking, I guess. Vivian Moreno, I'm your council member in the city of San Diego. English is fine for everybody? We're good? Okay, wonderful. This is what we're going to be talking about today. The agenda, a little bit about D8, myself, Giancarlo is a representative here in San Ysidro. The budget for fiscal year 25, we're going to talk about infrastructure. I will also give you information about what San Ysidro has been reporting on the Get It Done app, and also the IBWC operations, area operations manager, which, did you bring any, you brought flyers for tomorrow's event?
Yes, I did.
Wonderful. We have great news about that. And also we're going to hit on the Sandag bike team. So if you don't mind going to the next, I'm Vivian. I look a little different, but I was elected in 2018, re-elected in 2022. I used to live down off of, right in front of Pancho Villa in Villa Serena. I lived there for about 13 years, 507 square feet. Got a little tight for my daughter and I, so we just moved up the hill. It's quite a hill when you're walking it, by the way. We moved up the hill, so I was born and raised down here in the South Bay. Two hardworking parents. My mom worked for Jack in the Box for 41 years. Dad was in the logistics industry. And they taught me how to work hard. That's the bottom line of who I am. I'm the chair of the audit committee, vice chair of budget, and also a member of Land Use and Housing in the City of San Diego and Rules Committee. I do sit on the MTS board and OVRP, the Otay Valley Regional Park, which separates us from Chula Vista in San Diego. It's we used to call it the river bottom, right, when we were growing up, but now it's OVRP. In Sandag, I do sit in Borders Committee and the Bayshore Bikeway. I also oversee the Otay Mesa Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District. Very fancy way of saying the tax increment in Otay Mesa stays in Otay Mesa. Live in the South Bay, as I mentioned. I'm a mom. I am a wife. I have a 13-year-old dog. And I'm also a member of the San Ysidro Women's Club. They tell me what to do. If you don't mind going to the next slide. Since we last met, we've been very busy. Different events here in the South Bay. Just this past, I want to say it was November, we had a town hall in San Ysidro. We had about 64 people show up. And we had a member of the IBWC, Morgan, who runs the actual plant. And we also had members of the Sandag bike team out there to address different issues that folks had in the community. What else? As you can see, the 910 night bus route started at MTS. That's a bus that's going to be running in the night for all of the folks that need to get to work at night. So that's something new. Was part of the teddy bear giveaway, is right here in the second part. That was a town hall. And so, yeah, we've been hard at work. Casa Familiar's Thanksgiving event on the right bottom side, and Años Dorados is right up here. So it's a little bit of what we're doing, if we don't mind going to the next. Oh yeah, oh that's true. That I always forget about that. We, since I've been elected to council, we have had roughly about 3 cleanups per month in different parts of the community. Giancarlo, so San Ysidro usually has 1 per month. We do go dark in August because it's so hot, and in December because of the holidays. But for instance, we are having this Saturday, we are having one in Barrio Logan and here, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, we're having in Barrio Logan and here. It's when we get the 2 40-foot dumpsters and we put them out, and folks come and are able to throw away pretty much everything with the exception of hazardous waste. We won't take electronics, no paint, no
motors, anything with the motor.
Anything with the motor, any construction we will not take. Big bed that's been in the backyard of your house, bring it out. I do this because it costs us $100 plus what it's going to cost us to go all the way up to Miramar. Yeah, to get a tipping fee, it's about $100. So I've had over 65 of these in our community. And the reason I did this is because it's twofold. One, I wanted to have a line of communication with our constituents during COVID. And obviously we had to be separated. And this was a good way to communicate with residents and still stay 6 feet away. A lot of people were spring cleaning during COVID, so it made for a good way to communicate. Also, during COVID, I walked a lot. I haven't been walking a lot lately, but I really did notice that a lot of folks, sometimes they're not even part of our neighborhood, right? They come and they just throw stuff in our streets, on our sidewalks. South Vista Lane, that's a route that I would always go down. And I unfortunately one time even came up to a guy and said, "What are you doing?" Which wasn't smart. But I told him, we're having a cleanup on Saturday. Like, we're not a community that you could just come and dump your trash in. Not the smartest thing, I agree. But nonetheless, that is one of the reasons why we started the cleanups. There's been 65 of them. We don't ask, sometimes we get people from IB. I know that the mayor there was promoting them and I'm all right with that. Like, go ahead and promote it. We don't ask, hey, where are you? Do you live in Chile? Where do you live? We accept everybody, obviously. It's EDCO, it's a private company. Thank them when you see them because they've done over 65 of them in District 8 alone. Like I said, 3 per month, you're able to go anywhere. Giancarlo is my representative here in San Ysidro. Obviously, he's been attending these meetings. letting you guys know what we're doing, keeping you informed, and he's been also sharing with me everything that's going on. So thank you for that. And then let's go to the next. So fiscal year 25 budget. We received $35 million in investment in capital improvement projects. We're having a good problem down here, which is we're running out of CIP projects in San Ysidro because we're building them all. So absolutely, I seek you guys to give us details as to what capital improvement projects you want from your plan update. I have been known to extrapolate a capital improvement project as an example from the Otay Mesa Nestor plan update. We extrapolated P14, project P14, which is Southwest Park. We made it into a capital improvement project and we're pushing for it to become reality. We down here in the South Bay, when I became council member, I think we had 5 vacant lots that were promised to us as parks. I'm happy to report that we have fully funded 3 of them. Buyer Park, which is in construction, Rivera del Sol, which is off of Del Sol. That one, when I walked into this seat, was a vacant lot. Now you have a full park there. And Hidden Trails Park is in RFP. So they're out for proposal. So really excited about, don't let the city tell you no, is what I always tell folks. When we had the capital improvement project team, the engineering team come out and say, there's no money. I hear you, but we've been left behind a lot. So we need to demand that the city step up and give us, I tell them, the same as La Jolla. We're not asking for more, just the same. So I'm gonna keep on pushing. Last year, the mayor proposed to cut park and rec hours and programming. As I said, I was the chair of the audit committee. Carmel Valley has their programming for their kids is 126% higher than Robert Egger South Bay. They did a comparison. So they're definitely treating us different. And I'm showing them the data. It's not just Vivian pulling it out of her purse and saying, this is a problem. The data is showing that it's absolutely, there is a difference. And the mayor did propose to cut park and rec hour programming. We fought really hard and we were able to get it back in. That's going to be a fight again this year because of what the budget is looking like. The budget is basically the budget is our values, right? And so I would push you guys to please come to these meetings and express your opinions about how important these after-school programs are for our students. I know for me, growing up, my mom worked 12, 14 hours a day, and I certainly utilized a lot of these after-school programs. She didn't have money to pay for it, right? And it really did help keep me off the streets and keep me engaged. So these are really important. Library programming, library hours, the mayor proposed to cut them last year. We were able to get them back in. And some major capital improvement projects in this area is obviously Buyer Park. It is phase 1 that is fully funded, that is being refurbished, that is being completely redone. Phase 2, you guys, we need your attention for phase 2. We are waiting on federal funding for that, and obviously we are really afraid of what our new administration, a lot of the changes that he's bringing forward. So we definitely need to lean on our congressperson, Juan Vargas, and just keep on pushing for phase 2 to be fully funded. Cypress Drive corridor, I'm not going to take credit for that. Casa Familiar, if you're here, thank you so much for that work for Cypress Drive. They really did a lot of heavy lifting with that. And basically, we're looking to reconfigure the alley into a pedestrian walkway. It's safer for our kids to be walking. Howard Lane is about to get a facelift. Very excited about that. That was my neighborhood park. It's going to be completely refurbished. And you might ask, well, how is it going to be refurbished? We still don't have the details of it, but it's very similar to how San Ysidro, Colonel Solomon, how it's getting a facelift right now. That's the same way Howard is going to get a facelift. Obviously, a little bit of a different park, but nonetheless, Coral Gate neighborhood is also, I call it facelift, but it's getting refurbished. We have 5 parks in D8 that have gotten a facelift. So really excited about that. South Bay Egger, Colonel Sullivan, Coral Gate, Sherman Heights. That was the first year that I came into office. We got $350,000 for Sherman Heights up in the north, and Memorial Park. So we've been working really hard. We've been working really, really hard. If you don't mind going to the next. Byer Park, just to give you guys just a little bit more details. Phase 1 is $22.5 million. I guess I got ahead of myself. There's the $8 million in anticipated funding for fiscal year 25. Grant fund from the federal government. Please stay up to date with our project managers. Put your name on the list. Make sure that you are getting updated on that park. If you guys haven't seen, that park is going to be just gorgeous. Has the most beautiful view in all of San Diego. It's really, really, it's going to be a big game changer. And there we are at the top, breaking ground in August. That's the view. It's just gorgeous, and we're really proud of all the work that everybody in this room has done. And moving on to the next, this is a little bit more information. I guess I got ahead of myself with Cypress Drive. If you guys, I'm sure everybody is familiar with the alley that is Cypress Drive, but the city of LA has done some really neat stuff with these alleys, and that's where they're getting their inspiration. Basically, it's a dedicated pedestrian pathway. We want to put street lights. We want to put we just want to make it safer for our kids to walk. That's point blank. Yeah.
The bottom picture, that's my house.
Which one?
The bottom picture?
Yes, but
that is open because I have tenants that live inside my property. So how is that gonna work? Because the tenants park there, so they need to when they leave.
Well, I'm glad that you and I are here because we will make sure that Louis knows that.
Okay.
Right? We need to thank you for if you don't mind, do you mind grabbing her contact information just so that we could follow through? That's a rendering. I think that's more of a concept. I don't think that's exactly where it's gonna be. But I'm happy you're here.
Because on the other side, the guy that lives across from our property, he has a gate and he goes in and out all the time from that side. So it's like both sides are where are you gonna put?
Where are we gonna? No, yeah. We definitely will follow up and make sure that the engineer knows that there's a driveway there and that would make sense.
A lot of driveways there.
There are a lot of driveways, yeah. So they're gonna have to figure, they're engineers, they'll figure that out. But the cool thing is that we're having this discussion when 10 years ago, you know what I mean? People were just flying through that alley. We have a lot of our cleanups there at that little corner you've seen. And oh my God, the cars that they just fly by. So definitely, and a lot of San Ysidro, right? That a lot of people just, I don't know what they think it's a highway and it's not. So make sure we connect, please.
Okay.
If we don't follow up, get on top of me. Make sure that this engineer knows the situation. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Howard Lane Park improvements. As you see, there's no project identification number. Total cost of the project is $5 million. That one is over by Byer and Dairy Mart, over by the trolley tracks.
Yes.
It's a really active park. That's where I used to take my Luna to walk through that park.
I want to say something about the park.
I'm sorry, is it okay if I can? Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
Last Monday, we approved which playground we want to. I'm the board of the Park and Rec, San Ysidro Park and Rec, and we approved what kind of playground we like. Wonderful for the kids. Thank you for
Whimsical.
What's that?
It was called Whimsical, the type of playground.
Oh, the whimsical. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for that.
And also about the something that almost nobody knows. Where is the community activity center? We know as a boys club.
Yeah.
We know as a boys club, not community activity center. There were people here in San Ysidro.
What is that?
The community activity center.
I know.
We know.
We're gonna
that
talk
place
about it right now.
Yeah, she was.
Boys and girls club. You know,
Atrás de la mirada.
That's what it is. Thank you for.
No,
It
thank
was
you.
just
So I
Boys
guess
Club years ago.
my information needs to be updated. This improvement project has just, as we just heard it, the design has just been accepted by the Park and Rec Advisory Board. So thank you for that. Thank you for that update. This is Howard Lane Park. Go ahead.
Is there any plans on that park to project something like put a restroom on it?
No tiene baño, ¿verdad?
No.
No, you know what? We go back and forth.
Because they got grills, people gather there, they make parties, everything, and
we go back and forth with that. We like bathrooms. This is called a neighborhood park, and the concept of the park is that the neighbors go there. We know that that's not the case. We've had a lot of issues with football soccer league that go to the bathroom. Some, these are kids. They're, they go on the trees. Residents have contacted us. We have been in communication with the leagues, expressing to them, hey, you can't. How do you tell a kid that? So a lot of residents do not like bathrooms because of the homeless, because of the sheltered population. A lot of residents fight us. We just experienced it when we shared about the Hidden Trails Park. There was a lady there that said, we don't want bathrooms. And then some of the residents had to tell me later on, yes, we do, So it's a back and forth. This park is already, it's a neighborhood park. They approved it and it does not have bathrooms. So
I tried a lot of times asking for bathrooms, and the answer was no, it's neighborhood, and everybody
lives
support
around.
that.
Yeah.
Support that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Years ago at Lucky Waller Park,
Yeah.
they used to have the hours on the bathrooms. Somebody was around there, and they would lock them up and open them up for the same reason. They didn't want any drug addicts in there or whatever. But it went pretty good for the longest time. I haven't been there in a while. But those bathrooms were
like Balboa
maintained.
Park.
They gate
them.
Yeah.
Most of the parks,
and they do have hours, and they have somebody patrolling them
to come out. Right now in Lucky Waller, they're asking for lights. They want lights in the pathway. We got the ball field lights, but they want lights in the.
It's dark.
It's beautiful. So many people work out. If you go in the morning, it's full.
You would see me, but it's so dark.
If you don't mind going to the next. Yes, of course, yeah.
As you know, the park, we're talking about Howard Lane Park.
Let's go back.
And the apartments across the street from Derrymount Road. That the two I think there have to be some sort of coordination in how the apartments are going to affect the park being attended by or the children crossing the streets. And I like to request that there be something done to answer the question of safety, because the apartments are going to draw families with children, and I like to believe that people should go to the crossing light at Tequila Way, but they won't, and this is going to create a problem. So I like to know if maybe the solution might be crossing lanes right in front of the park itself, or at least extended next to the trolley track crossing area, which I don't know, something has to be done because people are going to be, involved in accidents.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that is the reason why we got the Tequila Way stoplight was a child was struck there. So we are aware of that, and they are going to be putting in a crosswalk. They are going to be putting in a crosswalk, right?
Correct. They're going to have crosswalk, and it's going to have the lights.
Yes, I believe, I don't want to take too much time about the improvements. You look at the park, and you can write a book about all the things that need to be done about improving it. You know,
And it's right here. So the park is gonna include new lights, improved walkway, all new playground, repaved courts, and more greenery. I didn't read it because it was, but I will go into detail. It costs about $5 million to fully fund the park. And right now, as was expressed by our representative from the Park and Rec Advisory Board, that it's no longer in the planning stage, the design was accepted. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I want to thank the members of the council, city council for, doing all that work that is involved right now to make it better. It's a little park, but unless we at the end decide to close it, instead of attracting more and more people from like you mentioned from the outside and coming in to crash the park we had enough accidents or incidents of crime, and nobody wants to know about those, and nobody wants to see things like that in the newspapers. It creates a negative, image.
It's a very active park. If you go any given day, there are people playing basketball, football, soccer. So now we're giving them more of a reason to go and enjoy the park. A family member told me, because you go to family parties and they lobby you, they were like, "Está muy triste ese parque." And so ahora they say it's a very sad park. Now we're gonna make it a happy park with all the changes, and muchas gracias por su ayuda. So
especially the bathroom.
The bathroom, yeah. Colonel Sullivan Park. These are the upgrades. We have the project number. So the improvements are going to include children's play area, parking lot improvements, security lighting, ADA upgrades to the existing activity center, and other park amenities. $5.8 million. City engineers have met with the De La Fuente Construction to discuss how it's going to remain open. As you guys mentioned, it's a really important park. A lot of folks use it. And Giancarlo, you could share this presentation with the president, and you guys are more than, this is your information. I work for you guys, so this is for you. Stay in touch with the engineer. So this is happening right now as we speak. If you don't mind going to the next. Coral Gate Neighborhood Park, another park that's going to get a facelift, $5.3 million. So the project provides for the design and construction of playground improvements at Coral Gate Neighborhood Park. No bathroom. And it's currently in construction. So really, really happy about that. Mr. Darren is a busy guy, so make sure you get in touch with him as well. We had a town hall style. There's some parking issues over in Coral Gate that we were discussing with these folks a few years back, and you see Carlos Lacara right there. So let's go to the next one. Next slide, please. So infrastructure. This is only San Ysidro numbers. Streets, street light repairs of last year was 69 total, and for resurfacing, you see the miles essentially for 2024, about 11 miles. We've seen a lot of our lanes get resurfaced. I don't think, if there are any issues with your streets, please let Giancarlo know. We need to get that street on the we need to report it, because the city of San Diego has an overall condition index, OCI, and part of the equation for the OCI is how many people complain about the streets. So we need to make sure folks are getting, if there's a pothole in your street, if it needs resurfacing, please put it through, Get It Done, please. They're using that data from Get It Done to decide what to focus on. So it's very important. Let's go to the next slide. This is me in the community again. Los Años Dorados, I was there at the Day of Remembrance of the 40th anniversary of the McDonald's tragedy. Teddy bear giveaway. I wanted to let you guys know about our dumpster drop off on this Saturday, February 15th, right after Valentine's, 9 to 12. I will say that get there early, because once they fill up, we cannot continue to put anything in it. As you see, Boston Avenue is in the north, it's in Barrio Logan. Larson Field is in the south. We're always making sure we show our love to both, as you know, we're split up into 2 areas.
Sorry, just so there's 2 Boston Avenues. This one's here in the south.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's just kind of confusing.
Also, this is just for, sorry about that. This is just for San Ysidro. Never mind. Okay, it's just this information is only for San Ysidro. We usually have the Barrio Logan one off of Boston, so 2 different streets. But you can follow me on Instagram to get the latest and greatest as well. And we've been sending out emails, and we're going to be sending out texts as well to notify residents. Some of us don't, are not on social media. We don't know what's happening. And this is completely free. Like I said, tell your friends, tell your family. The US IBWC Citizens Forum, as I stated, we had a town hall in November,
Late October, but yeah.
Late October. And we had Morgan from the, basically it's the plant, the federal plant, where they take the waters from Tijuana and they clean it up essentially. He went out there to give the community an update on what's happening with that plant. We asked him to do a citizens forum. Guess where they usually have their citizens forum? In Coronado. And I said, well, here we are in San Ysidro. Obviously, we are very impacted by the stench that comes through the border. As I said, I lived in Villa Serena for 13 years. When I wrote an op-ed in the UT about my experience with the stench, having my daughter be 7 days old and marinating in that stench is not something that I think happens throughout the whole city. So I certainly wanted to express that. Obviously, there's a lot of work that has been done in that regard. We'll get into details about that. So I asked them to have a citizens forum in San Ysidro. They delivered. It's tomorrow, February 13th at 6 p.m. I'm going to try to make it to the first part of it. I unfortunately have another pending meeting, but I do want to at least go and say hello. This is your opportunity to share your experience with them so that they know firsthand account. It's not some anecdote that they write down. This is you guys expressing what's going on, what you're smelling. And I ask you guys to please think, right now it obviously doesn't smell, but think about when it does and get that sentiment out to them.
During the month of August, that's when they do the testing. EPA, any lab, that's when the chemicals will
come down.
Yeah.
When the weather is hot. So those are the things we want you to come out, and I obviously will share that with them, but having them hear it firsthand. Olga?
Just because when I go down there, there's no parking. If maybe the library for next time.
Olga, we tried. And guess what? The library was booked. Where else did we've our issue has, that library is so busy. We're grateful for that. But maybe they did say they were going to have another citizens forum in Otay Mesa Nestor. We don't have the date yet for that, but we got a promise from them. So you could also, you're free to come to that. Maybe, we could ask them if we could hold it here because the parking is pretty good for the next one. So yeah, we will keep that into consideration. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, please. So get it done. What are you guys reporting here in San Ysidro? So for this past year, there was 304 parking violations that you guys got put in, get it done. If they missed your trash, if the trash man doesn't show up, definitely put it through, get it done. 161. There was 64 encampments, vegetation encroachment, 6 potholes, you guys. There's more potholes than that in San Ysidro.
I put in more than 6.
This is what the data is showing. Obviously, it's non-emergency, and there's more information just on their This is what we should follow up, actually, Rudy, as to if you do have record of that, please send it to us so that we can say, hey, there's absolutely more. Get it than 6. That sounds crazy, but nonetheless, it's important for us. So when they do an overall condition index and they see 6 potholes, you know, they're gonna say, oh, the streets in San Ysidro are beautiful.
I think that was a typo on my end. So,
Okay.
Because I feel like that's not
600?
correct.
Can you look that up quickly, please? And there was a.
I was thinking maybe because it's on the main roads where you have the potholes and you have to take a picture to submit and maybe people
Driving.
and taking a picture.
Yeah, that's true. But Giancarlo said he thinks it's a typo, so I think it's a typo too. 6s sounds a little crazy to me,
Forgot
so.
the 2 zeros.
So that if you don't mind going to the next, Tijuana River Valley. So the city of San Diego has been in a state of an emergency since 1993. That's ridiculous to me. On December 2023, a year, 13, 14 months ago, I did an open-ended letter to our congressional representatives. When I was out in DC with the chamber, we met with the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the EPA to express my personal experience with the stench. We did a resolution calling on the federal government to not only uphold the 1943 Clean Water Act. There's a federal act that 1946, I'm sorry, that basically stipulates that all water for our domestic is going to be clean. It's a federal document. And from that federal document, we get the plant down in the IBWC in like 94 was when it was built out. Obviously, if you could imagine the population of 1994 in Tijuana compared to now, it's totally outdated and dilapidated. The building is. It's a plant that literally separates. I don't want to go into detail, but it cleans the water essentially. Then there's an outfall 3 miles out into the ocean that releases the clean water, right? So it's after they treat it. There's actually a truck with substance that crosses the border and gives them back the substance. That the United States gives back the substance. So that plant needs to. It is in really bad shape. The federal government has just left it in disarray, and it needs to be brought up to standard, basically. But that's only the beginning of the issue because the Tijuana River, actual river, that doesn't go to the plant. That just flows. So that water needs to be captured as well. This is a humongous issue that we have been fighting for quite some time. There is $600 million that currently is funded for this plant. I have been told that to get this plant up to its fullest capacity, we're going to need about $1.5 billion. So there's still more money that needs to be allocated. We need to push. We need to keep on pushing as a community. So it's really important for you to be there tomorrow to express your concern. Obviously, as I stated it, it's a federal building, but we need to continue pushing. There are purifiers. The website is down. Is what you're saying?
The website is currently down. It's for some reason hasn't been updated, but the program is up and running and they're just working on it.
Let's follow up on what's happening. So that's with the Air Resources Board, and priority is going to be given to children, seniors, and those closest to the Tijuana River Valley. That's us taking a tour of the actual plant. When we went, there was about 5 tanks that are supposed to have free flowing water. And there was literally guys like in there. There was like a tree coming out of it's really bad shape. I've also asked them to open up the plant so that we as a community can go out and tour it. These are your taxpayer dollars. So it behooves us to be able to go see what's going on. So please get involved with that. If you don't mind going to the next slide, please. Questions?
The activity center, I was gonna mention, but you guys didn't say anything about it. It was just like on the agenda, and everybody seems to know what it was, but
Oh, can you
Yeah.
go back? Can we go back to the activity center? There it is. That's the activity center. The Colonel Solomon, it's right behind La Mirada.
It's, what's it, Diaz Road?
And what's-
Diaz Road, yeah.
that's where the pool is, and they're also updating that
No,
part.
no.
that's
You know La Mirada School?
Yes.
Right behind it. And go down below.
I will share something about the pool. You brought up the pool. The previous principal at San Ysidro High School, she was raised in this area. Unfortunately, she went to another school or retired. I don't know where she is. But she had requested for us to modify that pool to make it, I'm gonna say this wrong, but to make it like an Olympic, like deeper, and so that kids can train at a higher level. She's been the only one that has asked that. Something that, since you brought up the
Because
pool.
I noticed where the pool is at. I was excited. I saw that it was closed off, thinking, oh, cool, a park where my kids aren't gonna run to the street. But that park was closed, so I don't know why it's closed or if it has to do with the pool.
The pool wasn't, how would you say, refurbished?
Repair?
Repair?
But the park
But the
next
park-
to the pool, that's what I'm saying.
The
That was
visitors
closed
park,
off.
Villanueva Park, or whatever
Yeah.
it's called now.
It's the only pool here in San
No,
Ysidro.
the park.
The park.
Yeah.
Belongs to Park and Rec, but the pool was fixing for floors, roof and everything. And now, just now, it's open already.
Yeah, but the park says
The
it's
park-
closed.
Lo que está diciendo es si te gustó the oh my god, I'm sorry.
Surroundings.
Not the fence. It's, how do you say fence in Spanish?
Center.
Le gustó, que le gustó
Yo
el
pensé,
cerco.
pero dije, ay, qué suave. Pero ya cuando me acerqué con mi niña, pues dije, oh, es que está fenced out el parque, no,
Pero
like,
si
no pueden
si
entrar.
quisieras una.
Claro, aquí,
Ok.
como en el del Civic Center, ahí hace falta un cerco porque está la calle. Nadie lleva a los niños, al menos que sean niños súper mega bien portaditos, que no corran.
En remodelación está cerrado.
No hay muchos.
No hay en el centro. Nos estamos juntando en el senior center.
Okay.
Entonces, de ahí.
These are requests, please. So I'm hearing it, and we're absolutely, if you could write that down, we can make the request and we'll see where it goes. Go ahead.
Since you mentioned the air purifiers, Melina just sent me some information on them, so I'll send it out to you guys, and she's also gonna be at tomorrow's event, so you guys can attack her if you want to.
Yes, get your air purifier.
I want to ask a question, and a lot of people know that I always try to bring something up that pertains to public safety.
Mhm.
And I mentioned, and I asked the question several times, when are we going to get enough police patrol on the streets? Everybody is aware that there's more people coming in, you know, in our, using the streets and the main streets and everything. I lived here enough time, you know, close to 50 years.
Wow.
In the same place where I live. At Villa Encantadoras. And I've seen a lot of violations, you know, I see them, and I know that one of the improvements on Derrymar Road is that they increase the speed, and everybody still drives 45 miles an hour at least. But I ask, my question is, do we address these questions that we have in used to give us reports, and we haven't had reports from them for many months. And the police problems continue to increase. And what was that, 3 weeks ago, I had my neighbors call about cars parked on Derrymar Road. There's big signs, no park on either side of the street on Derrymar Road. And it took, well, it was the holidays, and the police answered the calls. You know, the cars need to be removed. They were very, I mean, it's in the area of the entrance to the homes there and obstructing, and they couldn't answer the calls about removing the vehicles. But there's other more serious problems, you know, but with traffic and everything else. So can we get that addressed, you know, at the city council? I don't know if we have to.
So just as an FYI, Eddington, the other Carlos, did have a presentation about it, and it's just like every single time they have an academy graduating, it's like half of them stay, half of them go. So they do not have enough to basically replenish whoever's like leaving. It's really ugly. Like there's
And we were-
there's
I was at a
no
meeting earlier
officers.
in San Ysidro this morning that Officer Lacara was there, and he's retiring.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of new. He was just describing to us that there's people coming to replace him, but not everything has been done yet. So hopefully, maybe we could get a new representative to come to this meeting from SDPD.
I think this is a phenomenon, not phenomenon, this is something that's happening across the nation where folks are not applying to the academies. We certainly are having academies. We have across the board for the city of San Diego have been more competitive today in regards to pay than what we have been in the past 10 years. So before we used to, a lot of our PD officers would just run to the sheriff's department because they were getting paid more. There was a pension, even though the PD always had a pension here. So this is a phenomenon we're seeing. Certainly I have quarterly meetings with the chief and the captains of all I have 3 divisions in this district, Central, Southeast, and Southern. This is something that we consistently bring up is, and as was mentioned, losing Carlos Lacara is going to be huge. He's from the neighborhood. He knows us. He gets us, right? He's been here for, I don't know, 15 years, as long as I've been here. He's been here. So we're going to have a big party for him, but we're losing institutional knowledge and really a person that helps train the next folks.
What I've noticed is that I was told from talking to officers on the phone that they're trying to address the problems rather than the violations. If you can understand that, if somebody's parked on the trolley tracks and it's on the red and they're still parked there, and the patrol car just drive right by, and they're probably going to go answer about some shootings or I don't know. That's what I
Life
was
and
told.
death is, and we really need neighborhood policing, right? Where you have people like Carlos
Preventive
that get to know, right? Get to know the grandparents, get to know the kids. I remember a time where we had a whole border division, right? Because we have the border, a lot of the PDs also called, right, to the border. So, but unfortunately, this is a case across the nation where folks are not, and it's interesting because now I'm hearing the sheriffs say that, like, hey, we're losing a lot of folks to other communities because it's so expensive, because there's an array of reasons. After George Floyd, the incident with George Floyd, not a lot of folks wanted to become PD officers. And this is not just in San Diego, it's across the nation, but we have certainly kept up in regards to pay and in regards to pensions to make sure that our PD officers feel, appreciated, or at least are giving the same amount of funding that the sheriffs is. And I'm sorry, ¿tenía alguna pregunta?
¿Lo puedo decir en español? Sí.
Oh, if you guys are okay, I'm okay with that.
Bueno, yo estuve, cuando trabajaba para Casa Familiar, estuve en varios comités de la policía por parte de Casa Familiar, y ahí vi y nos hicieron que pasáramos la voz. Aparte de todos los problemas que hay ahorita, de los sueldos y que están yendo y viniendo, una de las mayores razones en San Isidro que no hay policías donde creemos que se necesitan más es porque pasa un incidente y no lo reportan. Y como hay pocos elementos donde reciben más llamadas, es donde los mandan. Por eso se puso el tráiler ahí en la línea, para que estuvieran ahí presentes, porque allá era donde se recibían más llamadas. Y acá en la comunidad nadie reportaba. ¿Usted reportó el día que vio el incidente? No. ¿Verdad? O sí, lo reportó. No se reportan. No se pasa algo y ahí se va. Entonces la policía no son adivinos. Necesitan saber qué está pasando. Y si una sola persona llama y vuelve a llamar dentro de otro día y otro día la misma persona, no le hacen caso. Se necesitan ver varias personas para que se haga caso y tengamos más policías en la comunidad, no en la línea.
Y me doy cuenta, yo.
Can I translate?
Yeah.
Just really quick, she's saying that we need a report. Essentially, she's calling on everybody to make sure that we do reports, police reports, when we see incidents.
Yeah, I just wanted one final comment that it will have to be, just like you pointed out, that there's the police force is shrinking constantly. And we have to, this is the way I perceive things, that you see a patrol car, don't try to flag it down because the officer is probably just getting paid to drive that car around just to, not to give any tickets because they look the other way.
And that there's two different types of police officers, right? There's one officer that will go to any emergency. And then there's also, oh my God, what are they called? I'm drawing a blank on what they're called.
First responders?
No, there's another type of police officer that is.
Those volunteer ones?
No. They're patrol. There's the other ones that all they do day in and day out is give tickets. So if you're driving by a police officer and you see somebody do something, they're probably going to an incident that doesn't require them to have, and I don't want to make assumptions here, right? But one thing is rest assured is that my next meeting with the chief, I will tell him that members of the San Ysidro Planning Group would like to see more officers on the street.
At least restore somebody showing up here. Juan Carlo is going to have to write a book about
all the police
complaints.
reports. No, well, definitely that's one of the messages that I will relay to the chief. Absolutely, yeah. Go ahead.
I think part of the problem too is que dejan de llamar, no? I've called plenty of times for non-emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
I have a neighbor that decides to have a party every other week from like really late, and the police never showed up. So I basically stopped calling. People parking, blocking driveway, things like that, and they don't show up, or they show up like 4 or 5 hours later. So I think it's part of the problem that you call, they never come, so people get like, why do I call anymore?
They do have a log though.
Yeah,
of
no,
all the
I
time. So
understand.
please keep on calling because they do need to be, as was mentioned, if you don't notify, then they'll say, well, everything is good. They must need less people.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we call, the better.
Oh, he's listening.
Yeah, I'll let you handle the questions. Yeah, because I didn't know where to look. Sí,
I got 2 questions. One of them is to hear about Southwest Village, new community they're going to build up here. Any update on that?
I haven't received any updates on that whatsoever, but we could start peeking around and I could let you know. I'll follow up, but I haven't heard anything actually at all.
I think we elected a new representative last time to the Hotel Mesa Planning Group. Mr. Rico is not here. The Southwest Village Planning Group is a subcommittee of that planning group, so he should be reporting to us any new stuff. They stopped having subcommittee meetings over a year ago.
Yeah.
So but we can ask Mr. Ripa on his next time to.
Yeah.
And the second question is, do we get a share of all the tax revenue generated in the Las Americas? Being the fact that it's in San Isidro?
We are not an EIFD, we're not an enhanced infrastructure financing district. So all the tax increment that comes out of San Isidro goes to basically to the general fund. Yeah, so it's only the EIFDs that get the money that stays in the actual community. There's only one in the city of San Diego, and that's OTAI.
Thank Governor Brown for that. He did away with redevelopment, and that's where we used to get that money from.
Now we're gonna go into.
I'm still mad.
You know, yeah, that's been the conversation. So many conversations I've had. Olga, if you don't mind, who's next?
Cristian.
Okay.
For me, I guess one of the things that I want to ask is there is a bridge by the Willow School, right? And ever since I remember, I would go to San Ysidro High School and they will drop me by Willow. I live by Virginia Avenue. I'm mapping things correctly, but I would walk that bridge and it was like super like dark. There's a lot of like homeless people. There's a lot of like, even I was told that there was drug deals happening at the Union, right? And I've been reporting for like a year. I mean, you know that I cut those and like for a whole year now. And I was like, how can we report that? Or like I'm growing a little frustrated with that.
Yeah, no, it's extremely. Giancarlo, what's the latest on Willow Bridge?
The lights are all operational.
Okay.
But we're meeting with Sandag and SDPD to see if there's some way we can make it more secure.
So all the lights are working?
There's like 25 lights, there's only one that doesn't work.
Okay, so the lights, you got the lights to work. Thank you for everything that you've done and your patience. Giancarlo and I were just walking, not particularly that bridge, but on San Isidro Boulevard. What day did we go? Like two weeks ago?
Yes.
We literally were walking with one of your neighbors. And one of the things that came out of that conversation is Giancarlo is going to start a campaign called
Clean Up San Isidro.
Clean Up San Isidro.
So in that property right next to that Willow Bridge, there's apartments that are owned by the Sobke family, which is a big family here in San Isidro. And because we can't put containers in the right-of-way on public streets, we're going to reach out to the Sobke family to see if we can put a container there. And there's a lot of debris that's left over from the homeless that are on the Caltrans side of the property. So the idea being shifting the dumpster drop-offs to different locations within San Ysidro so that we could actively participate in the cleaning portion and people can bring their dumpster stuff from that apartment complex as well.
Let me just add to that. We're going to be demanding that they also put in the metal fences. So because a lot of the unsheltered folks are going into the easements. I know when I'm driving on the freeway, I see people walking, which is so scary and so dangerous. And if you noticed on the 5 going south by downtown, they put some of that really hard fencing that you just can't cut. So we're going to be pushing for Caltrans 1 to not allow folks to encamp there, and also for the hard fences. And we're also going to be cleaning up that parking lot, the bugambilias, and when we were walking, a lot of the homeless had, like, you could tell that somebody was sleeping there. And so we are going to call on all you guys to come out and help us in that cleanup. It's really about taking back our streets. As I've said, we have been doing over 65 cleanups in the community. It's not enough, so we need to continue tackling, and we need your help.
I guess my other suggestion, thank you so much. Yeah. I really appreciate that. I'm happy. I saw there was 2 lights that were not like there, and even they're still scary, but I'm so thankful. But I guess the other thing that I feel like maybe is not being addressed is I feel like people like pee and like defecate in there, and I feel like that's a different kind of cleaning. So like, is there a service in the city that does like deep cleaning? And the second thing is, how can we ensure that this does? So we have to clean up every week, because I feel like we clean, al siguiente día se ensucia, we clean. So is there any like solution or anything?
I mean, the solution that I have is as good as yours, right? Like, if a lot of folks in the community, if you want to get into the weeds of our unsheltered population, a lot of folks have mental health issues, right? You're not defecating on a bridge because you're 100%, right? You're defecating on a bridge because you have a lot of underlying issues, which really we need the county to be at the forefront of this issue. The county does oversee human and health services. We do have a CARES court that will essentially, if you are a danger to yourself or anybody out there, anybody in the community, you can be removed now legally through CARES court. The County of San Diego has to hire 18,000 workers to go through that CARES court. My understanding is that they haven't hired anybody. And so can't get into that conversation, but I will say that we need to be demanding more from our county representative, which is vacant right now. But we absolutely need to be demanding that they be at the forefront and that they be a leader in this unsheltered population issue that we have. Once again, it's a phenomenon that is happening all across the nation. Obviously, San Diego is getting hit even harder because of our weather. Our weather obviously allows folks to stay out. Imagine being in Texas, like you can't do it. In regards to but we should follow up with the power washing. We do have services in the city that does address the power washing. Obviously, that's not something we want you to be cleaning or any of our, we're going to get a lot of high school kids out there to help us. And I've been out there, right? When the chamber did its huge cleanups before COVID, I was one of those people and I was picking up needles and just crazy stuff, right? That we can't have that be on this crack pipes. Like, that cannot be on our streets, but it does behoove us to take a leadership role and report it, go out and help us clean up, all of that good stuff. So Carlo's going to be leading that campaign, and we hope to see you when we launch. Olga, is there?
Marcia and
Hola. Lo voy a decir en español. ¿Alguien me puede traducir para que entiendan las 4 personas que creo que no hablan español? He hablado con residentes de San Isidro y referente a la situación que mencionó el compañero de la inseguridad que hay, a todos nos afecta, la verdad, y varios comentarios que me gustaría que todos lo supieran, es que el parque que está enfrente a los bomberos, siempre me dicen como, ¿por qué no ponen una caseta móvil aquí? Una caseta, no queremos, obviamente, pues, una presencia de policía, porque no tenemos San Isidro, no tenemos estación de policía, lo más cercano es Coronado. Los residentes sí me dicen, no, ¿por qué no fue el parque que está abandonado? Hay mucho alrededor, no hay luces, están frente a los bomberos, creo que quedaría muy bien una caseta, algo chiquito, contestando las preguntas de seguridad. Eso es todo. Gracias.
Por supuesto, podemos avisarles a Southern Division, al capitán, ya es capitán, sí. Que es lo que nos están pidiendo en la mesa directiva de San Isidro.
El parque se llama San Isidro Fitness Park.
Sí, lo hicieron para personas de tercera edad, sí, ese parque, pero ya que me hizo la encuesta, ya yo le puedo decir al capitán, esto es lo que nos están pidiendo, por favor hágalo realidad.
Sí, de hecho lo piden las personas de la tercera edad, los señores que juegan ajedrez, lo que me comentan, saben que pues que estoy activa en la comunidad, me dicen, ay, tú que andas ahí, diles, haz esto por nosotros. Entonces yo creo que también lo estoy haciendo por mí, por todos, porque es seguridad, no tenemos estación.
No va a haber nadie en la comunidad que se enoje porque hay una estación de...
No, pero al contrario, okay. Porque como dice, llamamos, unos no llaman, porque pues de aquí que vengan, si no es emergencia, nos mandan a la de no emergencia.
Sí.
Entonces yo creo que si hay alguien aquí rápido, pasa un incidente, yo creo, se deja ir yo supongo, ¿no?
Sí.
Llegaría sin el tener que esperar a Coronado, o que nos trasladen la llamada, no sé. Es solamente una sugerencia. Para eso soy miembro de este grupo, para hacerles llegar.
Con todo gusto hacemos la petición.
Y muchas gracias que vino.
Gracias por invitarme.
Maybe Giancarlo, you know this, pero ahorita que están hablando de la basura, es cierto.
Oh my God, I didn't translate. I'm sorry. They want to have a station in front of the fire station on San Isidro Boulevard. There is a park that is for elders, a workout park, and they want to have some type of station there for our PD. I said, I'll make the request. Some type of mobile kind of thing. So I'm going to put in the request. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Okay. So when you guys were talking about the trash next to the bridge, we as parents that have kids that go to the school right there, the Willow is probably the worst one. The fence is always getting broken in, and we've noticed the parents, we've complained about it to the district. But I'm wondering I'm wondering whose property is it? Caltrans, the Lote Baldío, kind of by after Willow. It's filled with needles, trash, and there's families that walk there every single day. And if they do clean it, it needs some sort of maintenance. Whose jurisdiction is that?
So it is Caltrans property. City maintains it under contract. So when the lights were out, we spoke to the city. They're like, no, it's Caltrans. Then we spoke to Caltrans, and then they pointed out that there was a contractual agreement for the city to maintain the bridge. And so then they went in and fixed the lights.
Because in the schools, I think it's unacceptable for the people that commute every single day. They see bras, and we've complained a lot of times in the school district and the board meetings about that. But it'd be nice to keep an eye, at least in the surroundings of the school, because a lot of people commute every day walking.
That's a good one that I would So for instance, when I sit down with the mayor and I say, this is a huge issue, he's gonna pop open Get It Done app, and he's gonna see that nobody's
reported it. A lot of
So
people don't know.
I've told this to the mayor and their staff. There's a digital divide. My dad doesn't have the Get It Done app. He wouldn't even know what to do with the Get It Done app. Unfortunately, the city of San Diego is utilizing the Get It Done app with the data in there to basically map out where they're gonna be focused on, whether it be streets, sidewalks, whatever the case is. So the next option is to have we're here at the school board, right? To have the principal write a letter to me and to the mayor stipulating that this is an issue, getting as many parents to report it on the Get It Done, to give us a call, to give the mayor a call, to email us, take pictures, even if it's once a week. Unfortunately, we obviously, Giancarlo knows about this issue and we try to stay on top of it, but you guys know from one day to another, it's a disaster. So we need to continue. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. So please, at least, on your end, please continue to report this, even if it's through emailing me, right? And so then therefore I could definitely let the mayor know this is a huge issue, right?
And then one last question. He kind of beat me to the point, but I've been trying and I've been asking. We are very curious to know the revenue of San Ysidro, since we are not our own city and we feel like we are left behind. All the money goes to other parts in San Diego and we get left with the bare minimum. So, he asked for it. Is there any way you as council member can get that and get a presentation? I've been asking it to be part of the agenda on the dockets, and I haven't received any replies from anybody.
Yeah, we could definitely get, but I just gave you a presentation of all the stuff we're doing.
Right. We want to know how much money we're bringing in. We have I feel like we're bringing in
that's a valid request, and we certainly can ask. It would be from the debt services. They would be the ones that know from finance how much. How you want to know how much 92173 brings in in regards to taxes. Not property taxes, but sales tax, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got you. Yeah, that should be good.
I sent that for the second phase of the park.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
We need it.
We could, another thing is maybe you invite me and the mayor to walk down Willow.
And all the other schools, I'm just kidding.
Right? No,
but yeah, we know Willow's the worst.
Maybe you ask us formally. I could ask him, but if you're asking, that's another request.
It's just I'm wondering whose job it is. Like I don't want to blame everything on the school district, but you know what I mean. It's I wanted to know who's in charge of that.
We have an MOU with Caltrans. Okay. It is Caltrans property, but you have an MOU. We have an MOU, so it's the city's responsibility. Essentially, you heard it today.
Memorandum
right?
of understanding.
It's a memorandum of understanding, which and I have talked to Caltrans about a lot of the money that the governor had with and like Cypress Drive was started with that money as well, about beautifying that whole bridge, zeroing in on it. We didn't even talk about Sandag and some of the projects the San Ysidro Intermodal Transit Center. Maybe next time I come, they're doing the design of it. I don't want to divert, but Sandag needs to, they handle safe routes to school and they need to focus on that area. Maybe a plan to beautify it and to,
Right.
but if
Make it
it's the
safer because
land,
a lot of people crash into that corner too. Like it's oh sí.
Next to the dentist.
And it's across the street from the elementary school.
Oh, yeah.
Next to the trailer park?
Yeah, across, yeah, pretty much.
So I want to follow up. Maybe whoever gets elected as chair can bring. I don't know how many of you personally. I'm talking to the elected board of this group. Use Get It Done or use it regularly. I think it's incumbent on all of us. When somebody brings something, when Mr. Farias before he got elected, now I'm gonna make sure that he does it himself. But when Mr. Farias would sit over there and bring something up, I would report it on Get It Done. Whether he did it already or not, I would do it because when you follow up with Giancarlos or Lucero, who doesn't come too often, but is our assigned staffer from the mayor's office, the first thing they ask is what's the Get It Done report number? First thing they ask, and if you don't have it, they tell you report it first, then give me the number, right? Because the city, that's how they track it. The other day I got a report back from a 7-year-old complaint. Like 7 years ago, I said something about San Ysidro Boulevard and I forgot about it, and they just replied that, oh, we finally scheduled the work. So
what was it? What did you report?
It was a paving between the Bank of America and the Granite. So they're gonna pave one side of the street, and then the other one maybe in another 7 years. But the same thing with the school district. When somebody comes and says something about the school district, I don't say anything, but whatever they said, that's why I know there's more than 6 potholes. Because I go and I'll report it. My son, somebody asked that question right now. Sometimes my son says, are we in charge of this? Yeah, we're in charge of this. This is what we do. We report street lights, we report potholes, we report whatever it is. So just want to make sure that you guys are all doing it. Maybe Ms. Barraza can also do it. Maybe, I don't mention that I do it, but I go out and do it. Because then we can tell Giancarlo, it took 7 years.
For your campaign, Giancarlo, maybe we should try going door knocking and helping the older folks report stuff.
I wanted to mention that and to prove Vin's point is we had a campaign last year where we did walking tours with the app for the community.
I was there, yes.
Oh, right. So we just everybody took the same picture of the same pothole and they did respond in 4 days.
Wow.
As opposed to you do one. And so the
at the end of the day, like if you have social media, if you're in your phone using Facebook, and if you are complaining about something, but you're on your Facebook, well, you can just like transfer it to Get It Done, another app.
How long has that been running?
And it's
For 10 years? The Mile started
But it's
it.
everyone's responsibility.
Carlos the Mile actually started it, which is fun.
10 years ago?
It's been a while, and I just found out about it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it's got some limitations too. I know they did a workshop at the library, which I couldn't attend, but I wanted to because somebody mentioned it. You have to stop in the middle of the street sometimes because it won't let you get past the picture. You have to take a picture. One time I put a selfie of myself because I was driving on a one-way street with a bus behind me, and I was like, dude, because I forget, but like the other day I put in there's 2 potholes if you're driving south on West Park, right before you get to the tracks. There was one right by the steps to the Red Center, and then there was another one right before the tracks. So I put one and not the other to see. They've got to drive by both of them. Which one are they going to cover? So they only covered the first one, but not the second one, because I didn't report the second one. Although they probably fell in it.
Right.
But they didn't. So then when I went back and reported the second one, I got back a message that said, oh, you know what? The whole street is bad, so we're not going to be able to do anything.
Oh.
Which as the audit chair last year, we were able to get a mill and pave team, an in-house mill and pave team for the city of San Diego, who's gonna now start doing proactive work. So that's something that we got you guys as the auditor, as the audit chair. And so a lot of that work is outsourced, but the mill and pave team is gonna be in-house. They're going out there, because right now, if they see a pothole, they can't, because they only
It's not on
have
their
the
schedule.
one, it has to be on the schedule. Now with this mill and pave team, they're gonna be able to do proactive work, but you know, there's still, the need is still very much there. We still have to fight tooth and nail for our community. So I ask you guys to please get engaged in the budget process. Make sure that your voice is heard. And, you know, we just had an evening meeting on Monday on the budget. So we need you guys to come out and say some of the stuff that you guys are saying. Yeah, I'll start.
Sorry.
He's been waiting.
I think there's a technology gap. I think before announcing more people to use Get It Done, if you're not getting the results like him or me, it's still in progress. When they put the roundabout down by the park, they're putting the sign went the wrong way and pointing, it was wrong.
Where?
Down by the
roundabout on West Park.
On West Park, the sign is wrong?
So if you pay attention to it, you can't make a left-hand turn. You like
Giancarlo,
switch.
can you contact?
They fixed it. It was for
they did
tunnel.
fix it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still in progress.
Oh, got
So,
you.
My
Okay.
point is, we're saying you want to use the app, people want it, but they've lost faith in it.
Mhm.
So I think it's better be spent with more people addressing addressing the issues of having to be at the GPS point or you miss
Mhm.
where it's at. That's an unnecessary tool. I mean, the tool needs to be refined to today's standards, where it should be easy, this, and you can't upload video.
Yeah,
I know this requires infrastructure, being a system engineer, I know what it would take, and I know it takes money, but you're putting the cart before the horse by telling people to use it before the solution's ready to be used at the scale that you want to be used, because it doesn't seem like it's being manned. It looks like they're getting all these requests, the poor person or a handful of people are looking at this and like, where the hell do we start?
And just to follow up with you on that, one of the audits in regards to customer service for the city of San Diego showed that we are one of the top 6 biggest cities in the state of California that does not have a phone system, like a 311 phone system, where my dad can call in, right? Or a person that doesn't have an app can call in. I've been pushing for that, and I've been getting a lot of pushback. I've been telling folks 10% of our population will not does not have a smartphone.
Right. So
And I seem to be, it's like I'm talking to a wall, right? People don't understand. They're saying, no, well, we'll go out and we'll teach, right? So they have these events where they teach folks how to get it done. I am still of the belief that the city of San Diego, as the 2nd largest city in the state of California, should absolutely have a phone system where a live person will pick up, triage you to whatever you want, whether it's a tree or whether it's a pothole or whether it's a fence at a park and rec, and I'm getting pushback from that. They're saying, nope, this system works, and so I am pushing other forms of customer, at the end of the day, we're customer service, that's what we're here for, right? But I am getting pushback, so once again, they're leaving behind 10% of the population. The digital divide exists.
Right, but the 90%, I think all of us here will be able to record a pothole right now. Everybody. I mean, yeah, todos, no? So you have to account for the 90% of youths, you kids like your, ¿cómo se llama? Que él y toda su generación que ahorita que tienen teléfono, they can report, they're able to report just as much as us. Or their parents, or their abuelos, hey, people, can you go report this for me? Sure, Grandpa, I got you. Things like that, so they can proxy those requests over to other people that do have the phones, their neighbors, whoever. But the problem is not them. The problem is the solution. The app itself and the demand, there's no response. You got a 7-year-old response. Mine is still in progress, even though it was fixed. So it's like, it's just bad advertising because I lose faith. I'm like, right now we're talking about it, sure, I want to get it done right now. And I'm looking, I'm like, it's still in progress. I'm like, well, then it doesn't work. And with people's expectations today with instant gratification, I want a solution, I want a response. Even when you chat on a system, there's someone there. Now they're using AI to respond for you, know? But the point is that this needs to be addressed first so the solution, people can have faith in it. And now I'm sitting here and he stated what he said about 7 years ago. There's a core problem behind the scenes before getting it to the public, so they can have faith in the system. And they'll use it. And once they have faith, they'll be like, did you report it? It's true. But then they'll believe in it, then they'll use it, and then they'll flood the lines. But if there's nobody back there to respond, then what's the point? So that's I'm trying to be positive, but I'm having a negative experience.
So fortunately, I don't know, fortunately for me, it has worked, like with my family, when I ask them to do it, it has worked like within 1 day. Like it's incredible. People tell me it's 2 weeks. I'm like, wait, mine is in like 1 day. So I have a positive. I have like a positive experience, but yeah, I hear people. I mean, I do understand what you're saying that you lose faith, but I mean, we should take a look at those things too. Like there's.
So to her point, what's the data say to response times, number of calls, what are the analytics behind that? If she has got a positive experience, the two of us here have that, that's 50, that's 33, 70%, 30. So that's, that's not, the math doesn't matter.
They did do an analysis recently, and for the most part, I think most people are getting an experience that, a positive experience, which makes my argument really difficult to have about the 10%. But I mean, these are, I don't know if you attended maybe we should just ask a Panda person to come to this planning group.
So just two things. One, we had a workshop.
The workshop.
Back in October to teach people how to get it done. It was poorly attended,
right?
Unfortunately.
And we did flyer for that, right?
And we did flyer, there was, some food and those types of things. And the team behind the developers were there. They brought a group of 9 people to, go out there and do reports and those types of things. And the second thing was that there was a survey that was launched in middle of December that ended in just about a week and a half ago, early February, to get feedback on the customer reports regarding Get It Done. It was something that was part of my reports. And the analytics from the customer surveys showed that many of the respondents were from other districts and very few, I think it was around like less than 10%.
And I think half of them were because a lot of people in my staff live here, right? And I think a large portion of that was us.
It was like 12 people that participated in the survey compared to 30 or 40 organic respondents from.
We were not organic.
So there's a digital divide, of course, but I think there's also engagement levels are low.
Can we get them here?
Yeah, we can ask them.
Demonstration?
Can you go ahead and reach out to Panda and see if they could come this year to give you guys a presentation specifically?
Could you just make a comment about the process? Everybody's mentioning that you report this pothole and the next one doesn't get fixed. Maybe that's part of the broken process, because I would feel like, why make 2 trips to do a pothole right there? I understand they can't be fixing every single one.
The problem with that is that we outsource the pothole fixing. And so when they go out to fix potholes, they can only fix what's on the list. Okay. So I, as the audit chair, got a mill and pave team in-house, and they're now going out looking proactively. That's the problem with what we were talking about, unfortunately.
So it would seem like, if the contractor's out there and they see it, just take a picture, somebody at the city is like, oh great, you got another pothole, just fill it up,
It's not, it's in the contract, unfortunately. And there's actually a cost to filling each pothole, and the mill and pave team is gonna be less money to fill the pothole, of course. And that was part of an audit that we found, right? That a mill and pave team, I'm trying to bring a lot of the work back in-house, because there was a time when it was called management competition, where they pitted city workers against contractors, and the contractors won in the beginning, right? But as we saw the work being done, there's nothing like city workers. There's just and also the institutional knowledge of that. So we're trying to build back the teams, even though we have our contracting is $204 million per year. And that's one of the things that I've been, pounding the pavement on. We need to bring things back in-house. So this is an ongoing battle at City Council that I always am having, but it is to say it's frustrating and then to have, to hear what you're saying and then to know that my team went out there, flyered, try to get folks out and,
Yo quiero opinar en ese evento because I was there and I tried helping some of the elder folks, but you know what the problem is? And I'm not judging. We couldn't get them to download the app because they don't know their password for their Apple Store. So it was like it was a front stop.
It's my family all over again.
So how can I help them make a whole email? Like it wasn't that easy. And then some of them are like, I don't know if it was the turnout. I think was a lot of the like their generation people. So yeah, it was a bad balance. I took the time to walk with those guys. They were super nice. They explained to me like a bunch of things, how it takes certain times for certain things, and they were ready to work that day, but the older folks didn't want to walk. I mean, they were like no, and so yeah, it was.
So maybe let's do another one.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, and have all of us.
Take some tennis shoes,
one of the questions. Sorry, I want to be.
And then Cristian and the will sing.
Okay, that she was saying about the older people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they have a phone number like they do for like car service on the freeway? They have the 511.
511. Huh?
Yeah, so why don't they have something like that? So, say an elderly person that doesn't know how to use the phone, their app, say, I got this problem at this street and such. It'd be on record.
And that's what I was sharing with the gentleman about 15 minutes ago, that I'm pushing for the 311 for the 10% of our population. But I'm getting pushback. We're the only big city in California that doesn't have a phone system. To me, that's preposterous. That's ridiculous. And I'm pushing, but I'm literally facing a wall and fighting. Because people are over here in Appland, and I'm over here on like Mother Earth, right? Saying there's folks that still I want to call. I don't want to download an app.
Just like me. I don't like people texting me.
Uh-oh.
I mean that's
I won't text you anymore.
That's
You're
different.
gonna get a lot of texts from me.
Because say I'm driving, right?
Absolutely.
And then they text me and then they say, hey, why don't you answer? Right? Because I'm driving, so I have my Bluetooth. I'll answer the phone.
Yeah.
And I can talk. Right? And for me, better is to at least have a conversation. So I'm old school.
I'm old school too, so I'm pushing for you. I'm pushing for you at the city, but I'm talking to a wall. Because they're over here on Pandaland, App World. And I'm saying this is wonderful, but we're leaving behind a big population. And that population is my community, right? And you're leaving us behind.
Yeah, like all these accidents we're having is due to the phones.
Is Rudy trying to report a
pothole?
It's because he's trying to text you.
And I don't answer, right?
I'm having too much fun here. I need to.
Well, one of my other questions is the gentleman brought up the roundabout. And I think that's a waste of money because the other day, ambulance almost hit me. As I was going around the roundabout, she came and went left. Left instead of going around.
Yeah.
And they don't even respect the yield sign.
They didn't do the roundabout.
No. People don't,
Was it a Falk ambulance?
I don't even remember. I just cussed them out,
It was a regular car.
So Sandag, I thought it was at this meeting. Sandag made the distinction that the reason it's the way it was designed, it was so that the public, so you guys would know. Again, regular people aren't gonna know, but it was designed so that public safety vehicles, ambulances, and fire trucks drive across it, not around it. So you should be aware of that.
Yeah,
but I believe
but he didn't even yield. Okay.
Yeah.
And before they had a stop sign. it was at least a little bit safer that vehicles would stop. Now they have a yield sign, and they don't even yield. They just go in there. They don't care if another car is coming or not. You know, I think that was some bad planning right there.
Okay.
You know? And then another of my questions is that you say you're with MTS, you're involved with MTS?
I'm a board member of MTS.
Okay, a while, last year, as a matter of fact, when those rains came,
Mhm.
they washed on Vista Way.
Mhm.
The dirt that comes from the trolley came on the sidewalk.
Mhm.
And as a matter of fact, Mr. Lopez here has a picture that we discussed it, and nobody wants to clean the sidewalks. Right now, when it's raining, it's all mud.
Okay.
So people are walking
In mud?
out on the street because
Oh my
instead
God.
of walking on the sidewalk.
Okay.
And it's all the way down to, from Conwood,
Mhm.
all the way to
Vista.
Vista and around.
To where the trees are. because
Yeah.
The mayor didn't even clean it up when they did
Yeah.
the event.
Yeah.
I thought at least they would clean it up when the event was
Right.
gonna happen.
They didn't.
They left the tumbleweeds, they
Yeah.
left all the dirt,
Yeah.
and they just came in through the trees.
Yeah. I mean,
Giancarlo, we need a report. I know what I know exactly what you're talking about, and that is the city of San Diego, because the sidewalk.
a couple of weeks ago, there was a gentleman with some kids there, and they go, "Hey, what you guys doing?" They go, "Oh, we're volunteer picking up all the trash that the homeless leave there," because they had RVs parked there, and they
Please
just
report them. Please report
well,
them.
they already came and took those.
Yeah, well, okay,
Yeah.
good, good. They're not allowed to be there. That's where I saw the guy dumping
Mhm.
furniture, and that's because I lived right around the corner,
Yeah.
and I stopped him.
And then again, they're talking about the asphalt repaving. Well, I spoke with Mr. Freeman. Your name is Mr. Freeman, correct? Yes, he was on the board, and about Cottonwood, people just fly around there. We have had a couple of bad accidents because there's no way of people slowing down. And I say maybe put a speed bump
Okay.
or something, but you know,
Potholes. That's what we
Potholes.
need.
Well,
No, and then we're
yeah,
gonna put
yeah,
you
you know,
Have we done an engineering
and
report?
Mr. Freeman said maybe they
What, I'm sorry, what we need to do on Cottonwood is an engineering report to see how fast people are going. Have you guys done that? Have we done that in Cottonwood?
No.
Because they go out, they
and
put
put
a
the
little.
little thing on the street.
I have been a part of a group that did get speed bumps put in.
Mhm.
It is rigorous, and also it has to be approved by public safety.
Can you add Vista Lane to that list? Because there's people there flying like 60 miles an hour.
We just had an accident.
We need to have an individual put their name down as a
Okay.
report. That's number one. And then after they do the study and they find because they'll do a study for, days. If they find that people are going above the speed limit, then what needs to happen is 90% of the folks on that street need to approve a speed bump. So somebody needs to go door to door and
I'll
get
do it.
90%.
I'll
And then
do it.
once we get the 90%, public safety, the fire department needs to approve it. If it's a main thoroughfare,
It is because the bus goes through there, the fire trucks, the ambulance.
then they won't put
I
it.
mean, we just had an accident last month, and the person that was coming around the corner going southbound, he lost control of the car, and if it wasn't for a car that was standing on the other side, he would have gone into the house.
The neighbor's very active with that idea because the house with the
Right,
mural is.
right, exactly.
He's got cars in his house.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
You're right.
Yeah, and then just last week, person was coming out of a driveway, and this guy was coming too fast and hit the car that was coming out of the driveway. And it's the person's fault that's coming out of the driveway, even though she tried to stop, but the car was coming too fast. Yeah, and
Well, it sounds like it's a main thoroughfare. We can still put it through to see if engineering, will come out and do it, do the report, but it sounds like it's a main thoroughfare.
they don't even stop for the people that on the crosswalk, you got the lights flickering, they wouldn't stop for it.
The drivers are very aggressive here in San Ysidro.
Yes,
It's very-
everywhere, believe me. It's terrible. And the paving on that street as well, they had construction equipment on that street and they tore it all up. And that's when I found out about this meeting last couple of years ago, a year ago. And they haven't done nothing either to come and see if they could pave it.
You're right, because I was driving today through Cottonwood, and I thought, God, it was raining, so I was coming from downtown, like, oh, this is so nice, and then I get to Cottonwood, and I'm trying not to go into the potholes.
Yeah.
You're right.
John
It wasn't like that.
Can you report Cottonwood, please? From what cross streets?
From Cottonwood, Vista Lane.
All the way to San Ysidro Boulevard.
Yeah.
Cottonwood
there's two streets.
from you got the cross streets?
I know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Okay. So let's report it.
And the studies usually take, I think, 2 to 3 months.
So drive faster there. While the study's going, no, just kidding.
The first thing, I'm not in very quick, but here, I always forgot this street, Alta Mesa Road, is this what the street is?
Alta Mesa.
Road, Alta Mesa. But, my sister goes to San Ysidro High School, and although there is lighting, there is a specific area where there is no lighting, it's super dark. And I don't know if we can add that to the list of things that we are, but, because, get it done.
Get it done.
And then the second thing that I wanted to ask is about the audit committee. This is my first time hearing about it. It sounds very interesting because I want to support what you're saying. Like, for example, like adding the phone bank, not the phone bank, sorry, the phone, like the line, right? Are those meetings public? And so, do y'all also discuss it? Because this is the first time I see something about it, and I want to be more informed about the issues that you're pushing in the audit committee, right? And then, for example, you're saying you're receiving pushback. Like, I don't want you to like call them out specifically, but who is giving you pushback? You know?
Let's get it done.
All of our meetings are online. The audit committee is a city committee that was started in the 90s to basically look at the financials of the city of San Diego. It's morphed into looking at everything under the sun. It's a really good place to find out just how the city runs and how it doesn't run well. And we're supposed to fix the issues, right? And we're a strong mayor, strong council form of government. So all the operations is the mayor's department.
Thank you. And so is the mayor giving pushback?
This guy wants
You
to
can see some
The
new
right
out.
questions.
We're happy to share. We're happy to share that exact audit committee where we looked at the 311 phone system. So you could see that who it was that was pushing back on this, and we're happy to provide that.
That's
I would like to offer a potential solution because I study artificial intelligence, and I know that you're dealing with a wall with people not looking backward but looking forward. Like you said, Apple, right? All they get probably advertised is how to use. Guys in now they think that the phone system's old, so that's one of the walls. However, I know that in this, and I say because if it costs so much for a solution to be put in place for a phone, modern artificial intelligence that can be provided agent can be customized to talk to it in Espanol and English and francés in any language, and it would be able to understand you like a human being to report. I call my chart, so I use a lot of AI, and the difference is it's very effective. It's like having another engineer here with me, or a marketing dude here with me, or a professional web developer. I ask it anything, and it helps me.
Who do you ask?
Huh?
Who do you ask?
My artificial intelligence.
But how do you utilize?
For coding, for web development, for ideas.
Do you ask Google?
Google is, in 3 years, you're not gonna be at the end of the Google anymore.
I'm asking you, who do you utilize? You said you
Oh,
utilize
OpenAI's ChatGPT.
OpenAI.
So, this is a question towards towards providing a solution if you're gonna go back to wall. Give them another option. Have the developers look at artificial intelligence and agents. An agent that can be an app for this specific app, que hable en español, que le pueda hablar, mira, quiero reportar un carro que está ahí. And AI is gonna say, okay, ¿qué color es? You can prompt it, you can customize this virtual agent to answer the questions, to stay within the limits, to stay within the rules, the boundaries. There's so much you can do. But that is a development process, I understand that, but it's just another option, because that is the future, I have no doubt about it. So it will be something that if you're hitting that wall, someone in there must know. If you say AI, their ears may perk up, and maybe listen. That way, nuestras abuelitas, abuelitos, in English and in Spanish, can speak to an app without taking pictures, or even if they take a picture, okay, quiero mandar esta foto para reportar este pájaro, o este carro que está aquí, o este árbol que se quedó, lo que sea, ¿no? And be able to understand it and just say, okay, mándamelo, okay, ahorita te lo mando, y ya, that's it. It's a virtual agent that can accomplish a similar thing to reporting on a phone call without the human being. And I know it's a controversial issue with replacement of human beings, but it's inevitable. You know, I'm doing my job 10 times better. I'm more worried about being too efficient that I can't justify 8 hours a day. So I have to work my projects and say, oh, I'm done in 10 minutes. Well, I'll tell them it took me 3 or 4 days to do.
Where do you work?
Because it's being more efficient, but it's a double-edged sword, so now I get more work. We did that quick. Can you do this now? Can you do this now? Can you do this now? Well, my point is, the technology is being there so you can talk to it like a human being in any language and be able to get a solution where it's accessible to the other 10%.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's true, because when I make pay my phone bills and stuff like that, exactly, you said just put your name and what you want, and then they transfer you to another machine, and then you go from there.
I hate those.
Yeah,
I
but
understand.
It's smarter than a phone tree. It's much smarter than a generic pre-recorded phone tree.
I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to come here and present for you guys. I often say, and I had a really good HR director told me that you listen to the people who could hire and fire you. And in this case, it's you. You guys are my bosses. So I appreciate standing before you and giving you just a little glimpse of what we've been working on in San Ysidro. We certainly would like to have you come on board and help us fight for more funding, more state funding, more federal funding, and so we can get a lot of the projects completed in San Ysidro. Obviously, Giancarlo is here every single month, and we're here at your disposal for whatever you need.
One last question.
Is it okay, Olga? Olga's the one that's...
Oh, one last question.
You can make it fast.
You know, over by the Civic Center, you know, they put that bike lane or whatever.
Yes.
And I have never seen anybody go through there. And I see cars parked, trying to get parking spots, but that's cleared all the time. Every time I drive by there, I don't see nobody there. And before, it was parking along the curb. I mean, is there any way they could remove that? Because
You know what? I was thinking about you. I do see, well, me, I'm an old lady, so I wake up like at 5:30, 6 a.m. to go to Walmart. I do see people in their bikes at that time.
Right there?
During the.
On the Civic Center
They
area?
go in in groups. So I would always see people like at, I don't know, 6 a.m. and I don't know, I would see like 10 people.
We're right there in the Civic Center area?
So also keep in mind that the project hasn't been completed, so they haven't removed the barricades. So it's technically not open. That's being used. It's being used. Yes.
Yeah, I do see.
But it hasn't been completed, hasn't been open. So the entire route is still closed. They're still doing the landscaping. They're still doing other parts. So it's not open.
Okay.
Yeah, but is the fire program?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna move to docket item 4B.
Oh,
Action.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys. You got one bacon. Gracias. Gusto en saludarla.
So
Yeah, you.
there is, I'm gonna help Olga out to ease us along. There is one vacancy still, so we have because we noticed it, we can fill the vacancy today if there is somebody in attendance who wishes to be considered for that. Who?
Me.
Oh,
I would like to propose Michael if he's interested. Okay. That's all I can do.
Can I say something?
I don't know all of this.
So, Cristian, what's your last name? Fuentes? Fuentes Hernandez?
I motion.
Uh,
Or I can't.
You can, then the discussion can be taken after a motion.
Anybody seconds it? Okay, so.
So for the record, Ms. Palestino has motioned for Cristian Fuentes. Mr. Galileo has seconded. Now you can ask.
Any discussion?
Discussion about that? No, I something else. Well, I want to let you know that we lost the distribution in Mount Carmelo, and December and January, the library let us do it there. We lost 3 months and no food for the people. And this month, we returned to Monte Carmelo already. The new administration called us and we returned, and I thank the library for let us do it for 2 months. And that's the new good things.
Okay, so we have no. There's a motion and a second on the table to appoint Mr. Fuentes to the vacancy. So call for the vote.
I make a motion.
So there's, it's already.
We're just voting.
So we're voting.
We're voting.
For Christian
Aye.
Fuentes.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
I can't vote, but
Anybody opposed?
Okay, the motion passes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yay.
So we move to docket 4C, election of chair.
So again, Mr. Ortiz had been elected as chair at the last meeting. In the months since then, he has found he has a conflict which does not allow him to be the chair, which is why the vice chair was running tonight's meeting. So now at this point, we have to elect a new chair.
Can we discuss that for a second or no?
Yes.
So, I mean, if nobody else is interested, I personally would appoint Cristian because I think he would do a great job. And I think he would do it with passion and I think he'd be responsible about it if nobody else is interested.
Here. I know there's this kid.
Yeah.
Fresh young blood like that, passionate for this stuff.
I agree with you.
Fun fact, Cristian was also the ASB president of San Ysidro High School. So he has an extensive history with civic engagement and matters.
We see him very present in our community. So if anybody.
And with Supervisor Vargas as well.
I was an intern with Vivian and
So can we appoint him as chair if anybody wants a second?
I'll second it.
So is that a motion?
Sit over here.
That was a motion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if nobody else is interested.
Okay, so now we vote for Mr. Fuentes.
Are you keeping track of the motions?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's
So I
vote
motion.
for Mr. Fuentes.
Morris.
Aye.
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 Can I vote?
Yes.
Anyone opposes?
Oh, you're like.
Me, no, just
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, in high school.
It's up to you if you want to keep doing it or I think you should, no, I think you should.
What? What?
So we go to 5. So communication announcements, special orders, members of the public. Is there any elected officials? No. Anyone here?
I just wanna, I don't wanna keep people waiting, so I'm just gonna hand out some of these flyers for tomorrow's event. I distributed all of them, like in the community, so I only have 8 left. If you could take, I only have 8, so if you want to take one or take a picture. But again, this is for the water plant of Camino de la Plaza, the federal government. They've only come twice to San Ysidro, once. This is gonna be the second. So this is a very rare opportunity. You should all be there, voice your concerns. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we adjourn at 7:49.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Do I get like a training or something? Yo lo hice igual, así como el mismo, así fue.
Practice.
Así fue.